Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Science Colloquium. We are streaming live today with Denise, Godbout-Avant, Stanislaus County Master Gardener, and we'll be starting right at 3:15 with Denise's presentation, Wise About Water. And I do want to let you guys know about some things coming up here in science at MJC. On November 10th, we have Colleen Naughton from UC Merced using wastewater to track COVID-19. So the description of this talk is your poop can actually be valuable for public health. Scientists and engineers are detecting viral fragments of SARS-CoV-2 in wastewater as an early warning system of the spread of COVID-19, the disease from SARS-CoV-2, in communities globally. Learn about COVID-19 wastewater monitoring and how UC Merced is tracking it worldwide on a public dashboard. I also want to let you guys know about two MAPS, Modesto Area Partners in Science presentations, which are coming up this next in November. And so on November 19th, which is a Friday, we have Dr. Steve Farmer with some strange things about candy. And he'll be looking at chemistry and sugars and candy in that event. And then on December 10th, we have Dr. Margaret Turnbull from the University of Arizona SETI Institute, NASA Ames. And she's going to be talking about, will there ever be another Earth? And so looking for in the search for life beyond Earth, especially intelligent life. So that's some exciting things to look forward to here in our speaker series. Today we have Denise, Godbout-Avant, and she's our Stanislaus County Master Gardener, and her talk today is going to be Wise About Water. Denise grew up in Modesto, attending local schools, including 2 years right here at MJC, so we're proud of our alumni. And she's very proud of her time at MJC. She received her bachelor's degree from Stanislaus State in biology and also received teaching credentials at Stan State. Her career in science and education has included being a senior lab technician at Shell Labs doing microbiology and agriculture research. She was a program coordinator and teacher at our Great Valley Museum here on campus, an adjunct instructor teaching biology labs at Merced College, an editor for Blue Door Publishing, writing and editing biology labs, and she was in our anatomy and physiology department here at MJC as our lab technician. Since retiring, she has taught outdoor education for the Tuolumne River Trust, serves as a docent at the Great Valley Museum, and became a master gardener last year. And she's on our Science Colloquium committee, which is great to have her because she's great at getting guest speakers all the time. And Denise's interests include traveling, hiking, books, yoga, lifelong learning, sharing her love of science and nature, and discussing her journey of being born profoundly deaf, getting cochlear implants, and teaching others how to protect their hearing and options if they become hearing impaired. She's also married to her husband, Rick, and they have their 2 cats. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Denise. Thank you for being our speaker today. We really appreciate it. You can go ahead and share your screen.
Okay, thanks, Liz. Good to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
Let me find my, I lost my PowerPoint. Okay, give me a moment here. Let me find it again.
I think everybody knows there's a lot of technical things we have with all of this. Sometimes it takes a second.
Yeah, and here earlier,
Probably if you go ahead and share your screen, it'll show you your options. So maybe hit the green share screen. Okay.
I'm not getting it right now.
Oh, no.
I know, we had it earlier that I lost it. I think, can you see it now?
Yes, there it is.
Oh, good. Okay, now I will start it. Give me a second here. Hang on a second here.
Sure.
Okay, you see it now?
Yeah, it looks great.
Okay, good. Okay. All right, so go ahead and get started here. And before I start the actual talk, I just want to let you know about the Master Gardener program. I am here, partly represent that. And it was established in the USA in 1980. 40 counties here in California have MG programs. It's relatively new in our county. I'm only in the second class from last year, and we switched to Zoom midway. And it's a volunteer-based and through UC Davis, and we extend research-based knowledge and information on home horticulture, pest management, and sustainable landscape practices. So, what are we going to be talking about? We'll talk about what is water, how much water is there, where does it come from, and how is it distributed. Climate change impacts and drought, and ways we can conserve water in our gardens and homes. What is water? It is a very simple molecule, as you can see from the bottom here, the graphic, containing just 3 atoms, 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. Everybody knows that. H2O, at room temperature, basically tasteless, odorless, and colorless. And as you can see again in the graphic, there's a distribution of charge that's what we call a polar molecule, which allows it to be a universal solvent and is known as the solvent of life. It is the most abundant substance on the surface of Earth, and it's the only substance to exist as a solid, liquid, and gas on Earth's surface. It is the 3rd most abundant molecule in the universe, behind molecular hydrogen and carbon monoxide, and vital to all life on Earth. So, how much water do we actually have? Before we discuss ways to conserve water, it's valuable to know how much fresh water we actually have, where it comes from, and how it's distributed. So, how much of Earth is water? We're called the blue planet for a reason. 71% of the surface of the planet is water. 96.5% of that water is ocean salt water, with another 0.9% being saline water, which leaves just 2.5% of usable fresh water. Let's break this down even further. So what I just talked about, the first column on the left, ocean are 96.5%, other saline water is 0.9%, and fresh water at top blue band, 2.5%. Now we're going to take that 2.5% fresh water and break it down further in the middle column. 68.7% of that fresh water is in glaciers and ice caps. 30.1% is groundwater, and then 1.2% is surface and other fresh water. Now we're going to break down that little 1%, 1.2% surface fresh water to the last column on the right. And 69% of that is ground ice and permafrost. In lakes are 20.9%, soil moisture 3.8%, swamps and marshes 2.6%, rivers 0.9%, 0.49%, living things It was water in all of us, 0.26%, and finally atmosphere 3%. That was a lot of numbers and information, wasn't it? This bucket demonstration might help put in perspective. So on the left, you see a 5-gallon bucket. That represents all water on Earth. Then the 2 cups on the right have been removed from that bucket. This represents all the fresh water on our planet, which means the rest of that bucket, that 5-gallon bucket, represents all the salty and saline water. Now let's break down that 2 cups of fresh water even further. We can split to 1/2 cup on the left and 1.5 cups on the right. The 1.5 cup represents the fresh water that's tied up in polar ice caps and glaciers, which is basically unavailable for our use. A 1/2 cup includes the fresh water in the underground aquifer, surface water in rivers, lakes, wetlands, canals, etc., and water vapor in the air. And finally, I have taken 1 drop from that 1/2 cup and put it into my hand. This 1 drop represents all the fresh water that is available to humans and plants and animals out of that original 5 gallons. It's not much, is it? This fresh water is recycled via the water cycle: precipitation, evaporation, condensation. This amount of fresh water to us will basically not change, just the basis. Here in Santa Claus County, our water source comes from way up high in Colony Meadows in Yosemite. You can see the snow on Mount Lyell. There's also some glaciers, which I'll mention in a moment. So come spring, when the snow melts, it flows down into the Colony Meadows, going down into San Pedro Dam and Reservoir, which continues flowing down through the foothills into LaGrange Dam, which is then split between Modesto Irrigation Canal and Turlock Irrigation Canal into their reservoirs and lakes. Some of it goes down through the Colony River, the rest of it is through the reservoirs and lakes. So who do you think is the biggest freshwater user? Cities, agriculture, fish and plants, humans in urban areas? Find out. On the average, 50% of our fresh water from rivers stays in the rivers for nature, with the other half for human use, for our use. 80% of that water is goes for agriculture. 20% is for our use. And that does not give us much water for our homes and gardens. So we must make use of every drop. And remember that 1 little drop into my hand that I showed, only 20% of that is for our use. The rest of that drop is going to agriculture. However, climate change is impacting California's water sources with extreme water events. We're either getting too much or not enough. That's becoming a norm. We just went through an atmospheric river storm, which could cause flooding and mudslides. We did over the weekend. Or we go the opposite end, not enough. Drought, which leads to water shortages and wildfires. And of course, we were in the middle of a drought. We just went through a horrific wildfire season, and we had an atmospheric river in the middle of all that. Both of these can pollute water supply, further reducing clean water sources. And here you can see a photograph of Lake Oroville. The top was taken 3 years ago. The middle was in April of this year, and the bottom was in July of this year. It's pretty much empty now. Drought is common in California. We're no stranger to it. It is a recurring feature of our Mediterranean climate. But is expected to happen more frequently, with longer, more extreme duration. It's a part of our history. There was a major 5-year drought in 2012 through 2016. Other recent droughts have been through 2007, 9 of the 2-year one. Then we had another 5-year one, 1987, 1992, and then 2-year one, 1976, 1977. There were off and on dry conditions during the 1920s and 30s. And pre-reading, it showed records from hundreds of years ago. And paleoclimate records going back more than 1,000 years shows many significant dry periods. I mean, look at the tree rings, the thin band for the years where there's very little rain. And in addition to the records showing this, the igneous peoples, their stories tell about long-term drought. So this is a feature of California. If you saw the previous Science Colloquium talk 2 weeks ago, by Yosemite National Park geologist Dr. Craig Scott on the rise and fall of Sierra Nevada Glacier, you'll know that glaciers in Yosemite, including Mount Lyell, are shrinking. This will have an impact of the flow of the following river during the summer and autumn season, during the years of low precipitation in the future. And this is true of glaciers, rivers that are connected to glaciers elsewhere. So it's not happening to our river. This is a map of the water situation throughout California back in April 29th. As the summer went on, the map became even more red. And the more red it was, the more drought was occurring. California's 2020, 2021 water year ended on September 30th. California's water year goes from October 1st to September 30th. Our water year here in San Antonio County, Modesto, goes from July 1st to June 30th. So a little bit different dates. But California this year was the 4th driest on record since we started keeping record back in, I think it was around 1850, 1880, somewhere around there. Last year was the 5th driest year. Historically, Modesto received 13 inches of precipitation. During this past year, we got 9.4 inches. Last year, it was 6.54. Governor Newsom declared drought in California on April 21st. How long will this drought last? And that recent atmospheric storm that we had this weekend, that's not going to end the drought. It may help, but it's not going to end it. We need more consistent rain throughout the winter season. So, here's a recurring regular drought, which are becoming the norm. Practicing water sustainability means to be a way of life here in our state. There are many water conservation methods we can incorporate into our daily life, in the garden and in the home. We're going to enforce them. Under the topic, we're going to cover on lawn, irrigation, soil type, designing the landscape, recycling water, plants, and in the home. Lawn. About 50% of urban water is used for outdoor irrigation. Lawns are the major source of garden water use. They require bottled water. If you can, reduce the amount of water on your lawn. I'll talk more about that in a moment. Warm season and cool season turf grasses are used in California. Whenever possible, using warm season turf can result in significant water savings in comparison with cool season grasses. So if you're putting on a lawn, at least try to put in warm season turf. So that'll help reduce the amount of water. Turf grasses can be irrigated at different levels. Optimum the amount of water needed for the best growth and appearance. As I said, exactly a word I don't like, wish I could come up with a better word, but that provides sufficient water to maintain adequate appearance and less growth. The pond is still going to be green. It may not have that beautiful lush green that people want, but it's still going to be green. This level can reduce irrigation water by at least 25% from the optimal growth. Survival, growth, and quality are reduced. Survival is used during drought, long drought periods. During that last drought between 2012 and 2016, the state mandated greatly reduced the amount of water that people could use. And they said we had to stop watering water. But we were able to maintain trees and bushes. Grass can come back. Trees, you lose them, you're not going to be able to replace them, but you can. But lawn can easily regrow. Water only as needed to maintain your grass. Walk on the grass if it springs up and it's healthy. By reducing water time by a minute or two to see if it still continues to spring up. And then try again, reducing another minute or so. And keep doing that till you reach that mark, that spot where the grass will not spring back up. And then go back up 1 minute or two. If you have runoff, you are overwatering. Cutting grass to save water, you can set your mower blade to 3 inches to encourage deeper roots. Grass cycle by leaving some long cutting behind when mowing, because a layer of 1/2 inch of thatch functions as mulch. It moderates the temperature of the soil, helping it maintain moisture. Water-wise irrigation. Use sprayers to drip system whenever possible. This system is much more efficient. Back on a regular basis, water valves, sprinkler heads, sprayers, and hoses are leaked, repairing or replacing as needed. It's a good idea to go through your entire water system, irrigation system, at least once a year. Adjust your watering according to the type of lawn, plant, and soil you have. More on soil types in a moment. Water early in the day or late in the evening when temperatures are cooler to reduce evaporation. Deep water plants, watering less often and longer periods. All these things help reduce the amount of water in your garden. Watering according to the season. It was raining this weekend. You shouldn't be watering your garden then. Have a water timer for the rain sensor so garden is not irrigated when it rains. Reduce the frequency during the cooler months. You can go for a long period of time during the cooler months without watering, especially the rain. A lot of people don't know what kind of soil they have. Do you have sandy soil, loamy, silty soil, clay soil, a mixture of these? Not sure, or you don't have a garden. If you do have a garden, knowing your soil type is valuable information because different soil types have different water holding capacity, affecting how long and how often you need the water. Sandy soil dries quickly, so it requires frequent watering. Silty loamy drains fairly well, needs less water. Clay does not drain well. It holds its water for long periods of time. You might have a mixture of these. The way to find out what type of soil you have is feel it. You take a handful of soil and wet it. You rub it up between your thumb and finger like the graphic shows. It's really crumbly, smooth, slippery, or sticky. Doesn't fall apart or doesn't hold together, forming a thin strip or a strong ribbon. Sandy soil feels gritty and crumbles in your hand. Silty, loamy soil feels smooth and slippery, forming a thin strip. Clay soil feels sticky and forms a strong ribbon. Other ways to conserve water in the garden, use compost or mulch, like the bark that you see here. It reduces water loss from evaporation. Instead of sidewalks, put in water permeable paths. We have an excellent example of that, both on the north side and the south side of the Science Community Center on the west campus. The native plant garden there has this type of path, and so does the north side of the building. And water can drain through these things very nicely and help water the plants that are there. Eliminate urban rural. Sidewalks and driveways do not need to be watered. So adjust your water system so it's facing your targeted plant rather than facing the sidewalk or driveway. Adjust the water timing so it doesn't overflow. Perhaps watering 2 times for a shorter time frame with no water period in between. And water for say 10 minutes, and a 5-minute break, 10-minute break, half hour, and water again. And that's it. Water time for the soil to absorb it. And again, avoid watering when it's raining. You can design your landscape to tap runoff. Observe where your water goes during watering or during rainstorms. Plant in appropriate location to capture that runoff, particularly if on a slope. Use slopes, basins, swales to direct and capture water. Swales is where you put dams of soil, rims of soil. In the photograph here, these rocks are at the base of a slope to capture runoff. And so the water is not going into the sidewalk in front of it. And this helps recharge the aquifers and eliminate the runoff. Hydrozones are great. What that means is you're grouping plants with similar water needs. So for example, the right plant for the right spot. Zone 1 is infrequent or no water. Zone 2 is occasional water. And zone 3 is some plants that require regular weekly water. And you can set these up easily with the irrigation system and the timer boxes. So it's all very doable. Just requires a little bit of planning. Collecting water for the garden. You can harvest rainwater from the gutter during the wet winter season to use for later watering of your garden. This can be just a simple barrel, like in the photograph on the bottom there, or a garbage can with a rain chain, or something more technical for the pump. So be sure that it's open, keep it covered to prevent mosquitoes from laying eggs. You can tap shower water in the bucket while your water is warming up to use for watering gardens. My husband and I have been doing this for years, and we can use it for watering our potted plants and other plants that might need more watering than our irrigation system is set up for. This is not common here yet, but I think it will become more common in the future. Recycling gray water to water your garden. Gray water is gently used water from bathroom sinks, showers, tubs, and washing machines, which has been diverted and captured to irrigate garden plants, including vegetable gardens. It's fine for vegetable gardens as long as it does not touch the vegetable parts from the plant. This can be simple or complicated. Local jurisdictions may have different guidelines than the state. The homeowners should contact their local jurisdiction for specific regulation. Some California cities, like Encinitas in Southern California, are requiring new homes to be built with gray water systems. So you can see a graphic here, like of a washing machine, and how the water is going out to all the plants in the garden. Other ways to save water outdoors. Instead of using a hose to wash down the driveway, sidewalk, use a broom or a blower to clean driveways and patios and sidewalks instead of water. Wash your car at the washing facility with a really good, efficient water recycler than washing your car in your driveway. As a master gardener, this is one of the most fun things about planting the garden. So I'm going to be showing, for those of you who are interested in gardens, I'm going to show you some 2 plants that you can choose that are water light. Excuse me for a second here. So these are, I'm going to read through these pretty fast, but these are some of my favorites. Enosis, any kind of yarrow, salvia, and toyon. These are all great plants. These are some ornamental grasses, pink woolly grass, deer grass, and we have quite a few deer grass in the native plant garden in the over there by the Science Community Center, and purple needle grass. Lots of great trees to choose from. Crepe myrtle, you see those all over the place. It's colorful when they're blooming. Shining pistache, the trees that usually have beautiful fall colors. Desert willow, once they're established, they need almost no watering. Rufous olive tree, again, once established, need little water. And my all-time favorite, the valley oak. But you need space to grow that and patience. And they can live up to 300 years. So definitely a great tree to have. Ground cover, lantana species, which is a different lantana species that you often see in landscaping because of the low growing coconut third species, and creeping germander. Cactus and succulents, of course. They are the ultimate low water plant. They aren't for everyone, but they have their own kind of dramatic beauty that can be tucked into sunny spots in the garden. What are some of the methods you use to conserve water in your home? Do you wash your vehicles at a car wash? Do you have an efficient dishwasher or washing machine? Efficient shower or toilet, and or toilet? Do you take 5-minute showers? Do you turn your faucet on and off if needed while shaving, brushing teeth, rinsing dishes? We're going to explore those a little bit more. I've already talked about washing vehicles at a car wash rather than in the driveway. So, ways to save water indoors. Doing laundry and showering using an average of 160 gallons per day. And there's a simple way to reduce water in the home. 6 small leaks in the toilet. Install high efficiency toilets, which can save 19 gallons per person per day. And you want to go one step further, you can go with the rule, if it's yellow, let it mellow, if it's brown, flush it down. Bathroom. Put aerator on bathroom faucet and shower head. This can reduce water usage by 1.2 gallons per day. Take 5-minute showers. Shower on alternate days. Might not want to do that during the hot summer, but winter that could work. If taking a bath, fill the bathtub halfway or less. That can save 12 gallons per day. And don't let water run from the faucet. Turn it on and off if needed, particularly when washing hands, brushing teeth, and shaving. And this can take a while to get into that habit, but once you do get into that habit, you just do it without even thinking. In the kitchen and laundry, run the dishwasher only when full. Use a water-efficient dishwasher. Scrape dishes whenever possible rather than rinsing. The dishwashers are incredibly good to clean days and clean dishes. And again, don't let water run from faucet if rinsing dishes. Turn it on and off as needed. Breaking food off. Laundry, run washing machine with full load, and front loading washing machines are much more water efficient. Here in the city of Modesto, the city offers rebate for converting existing spray system to drip irrigation, getting a high efficiency clothes washer when you replace your old one, painting the toilet, replacing old high water use toilets with a high efficiency one, an upgrade for purchasing new smart irrigation controller and replacing the turf with artificial grass or any qualified drought-tolerant landscape products. For those of you who live in other communities, you'll need to check with your city or county. So there are a lot of ways you can incorporate water conservation to become a normal practice in our daily lives, in our home and garden. Every drop counts. And I listed a number of resources here, which if you want a copy of this list, you can email me. I've listed it here at the bottom. And these include the Santa Claus County Master Gardener publication of wildlife landscaping, the sustainable landscaping class that we had in the past, the PowerPoint for that. And here's a great resource from UC Dave and Arboretum All-Stars, great plants that are wildlife, California Native Plant Society, and another good source for choosing your plant. Managing your turf grass during drought through UC. Use the gray water and urban landscape. And the city Modesto rebate program that I just mentioned, there's some links for that. And research reviewing the best low water plants from UC landscape plant irrigation research trial. Every 2 years, they're doing a whole new set of plants that nurseries donate, and they study them, measure how well they're doing, different amounts of water, location, and that sort of thing. And every 2 years, they do a report on that. I think in my talk earlier, and I thought I would like to thank the following for their help in putting this together. Modesto Irrigation District, Baltimore Trust, United States Geology Service, State of California Department of Water Resources, University of California Agriculture and Natural Resources, and the Santa Claus County Master Gardener Publication. And a little bit more information on the Master Gardener Program. You can sign up for the Santa Claus Drought blog, which has gardening pest management codes, and the University of California Continuing Education Master Gardener and activities. If you're interested, you might want to go Master Gardener somewhere down the road. We've already got all of our candidates for the 2022 class. So if you're interested, help me down the road. It's a 19-week course. That includes UC data and excellent speakers, excellent professors. And we're going to do the link for the Santa Claus Drought, or you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And so you can get ongoing information and be ways to becoming water wise. And any questions? Like I said, I thought this would take an hour, so we went through it pretty quickly.
Hey, no problem. It was a great talk. Thank you.
Mhm.
Hey, there are a couple questions. There was one question, but you answered it about recommending gray water irrigation, but also, is the gray water safe for plants?
It is safe for plants. But obviously, we have to be very specific what we're talking about. I mean, we're talking about water from dishwashers, laundry, bathtub, showers, and these waters don't have much in the, don't have anything really that will harm plants. You can use it for vegetable gardening, but it can't, you have to use an irrigation system. This is not water you're going to be spraying on your plants. It has to be coming from the ground from the irrigation system. So it's not touching the edible part of your plant.
And then are there special like products you could use for washing dishes, like whatever kind of dishwashing liquid you use or what kind of shampoos or detergents? Does that make any difference with the gray water?
That's a good question. I don't think so, but I can't say that with a 100% confidence.
Sure.
So my understanding is any kind of soap should be fine, that it should not affect the plant. Again, I can't say that 100% certainty. So,
Hi, sorry, I was muted for a minute. And then the Master Gardener programs, do they have workshops on plantings of native plants and drought resistant plants?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we do have periodic workshops which are listed on that Santa Claus Sprout or the Master Gardener website. And we also have a helpline which you can call, and I should have included the phone number for that, and I did not, and I don't have it in my fingertips right now. Again, you can find that number if you type in Santa Claus County Master Gardener helpline, and you can ask your questions in several different ways. You can call on Wednesday from 9 to 12. There will be a body there, somebody can answer the phone, or you can fill out a form that's on the website and someone will get back to you. Or you can actually walk or drive to the agriculture center, which is way out in Crow's Landing and Service Road. The people will bring in plant samples or insect samples if their plants have been affected with something. And somebody there will take that sample, if they're the master gardener there, they will try to answer the question down there. And yeah, so there's several ways of getting help.
And then can you recommend, are there any local places where individuals kind of working to make their gardens more water-wise can get a hold of plants that would be good for this?
Okay, repeat that question again.
Are there places where people can go locally to buy water-wise or native plants?
Oh, okay. Most nurseries these days, I cannot, as a master gardener, I cannot specifically recommend anything. Most nurseries these days carry at least some water-wise plants. So if you go and ask them, the California Native Plant Society,
Oh, it's great.
they periodically have plant sales.
Okay.
And so obviously a lot of their plants would be water-wise and or native plants. Yeah. So.
Yeah, California Native Plant Society, that's a great reference. That's a good place for people to start besides these other entities that you listed. So that's great. Just a couple things, Denise. Lots of thank yous in the chat for your informative presentation today, and they really appreciated all the information that you had in your talk.
Okay, so, one thing I forgot to mention when I was talking about replacing, we talk about, dishes, washing machine, dishwashers, and so forth. You don't want to have to be replacing these things until they break down. So that's just going to add to your waste stream. So, we all want our equipment to be efficient. Might not have the money at the time, but when you can, and when the equipment breaks down, try to buy water efficient equipment, washer dryers, and or not dryers, but water efficient dishwashers, toilets, that sort of thing, when you can.
Yeah, I've heard that. It's funny because my washer recently broke, and it is a front loader and it's efficient. It's 10 years old, but we fixed it, which is, we used the internet. Was super happy to be able to fix it. I did not want to replace that. I just read something recently also that even if you have not a full dishwasher full of dishes, it's still better to stick them in the dishwasher and wash them than washing them in the sink by hand, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
So they didn't specify how many dishes, but you know, like half a load would still more efficient than doing them yourself.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, Denise, I want to thank you for your presentation today. And I think we got all the questions. So I hope you have a terrific evening. And everybody, we will see you back here in 2 weeks for our talk about COVID-19 and SARS-CoV-2 detection in wastewater with Dr. Colleen Naughton. So I hope you guys will join us for that in 2 weeks. All right, have a good night.